Good morning, YouTube. This is your home girl, Arabia Barbosa, 914 West County, New York. We are in the motherfucking house. I want to give a complete shout out to one of my YouTube creators, the Dante Show. Want to give complete shout out to him. He's on YouTube doing videos. He's speaking his truth. He's telling his story. And I've listened to his videos. I'm over there. I'm subscribed to him. Y'all go over there and sub up to the Dante Show. Go over there and sub up to him. He's on my community wall on this channel. Shout out to him. Shout out to him. Because when he talked about some of his family members, people he knew for years, he had a deep connection with these people. He said as when he was a child, he used to burglarize other people's homes, but he did not steal no TVs or DVDs or game systems. Only thing that young man wanted was food out of the fucking refrigerator. And I remember before I got locked up years ago, I had a couple of cousins that was living in a certain part of South Carolina. And that's what they used to do. They used to burglarize these different homes of different people. And the only thing they wanted was food out of the fucking refrigerator, out of the fucking freezer. Every time I met up with them, they said, Arabia, you good to go? You getting ready to go to work? I was working at Pizza Hut during that time. I was a young woman working at Pizza Hut. My pay for that particular job, because I was a waitress or a waiter in that job category when I was working for them. So that meant that I had to greet the customers. I had to work the cash register. I had to bring the food out. I had to clean the dishes in the dishwasher. I had to clean the whole area. And I did my job very well as a young woman. And this is way before I went to the fucking penitentiary. This is way before I went to the fucking penitentiary. Shout out to the chat. I heard this young man's story. And so, oh Lord, I gotta say something. And he's right. He's right about that. He's right about that. He said that his parents was not taking care of him or his siblings. Whatever they were doing with their money, whatever the situation was going on, this young man had to go out and burglarize other people's homes. And usually when young children break into your home, they're not looking for TVs. They're not looking for money. They're looking for food. They're looking for substance for themselves and their siblings. How many times did I run into people in prison that said that when they were children, they would break into people's homes and steal food? Food is better than money. Food is better than gold. Food is better than silver. And I remember these young men, my cousins, being young children, and they were young. They were young. They were out there shoplifting and everything. And shout out to them for being so supportive of me Because when I got locked up, them little dudes, every time my court appearance came, them little dudes would go to the courthouse. They would make their little posters and they'd be like, "Free Arabia, free Arabia." And they were very serious about that. They was there that day I got my time. When the Judge Schuler, shout out to Judge Schuler, he gave me 8 years. Common law robbery, but on my jacket is strong arm robbery. That meant I went into an establishment and robbed them. I didn't have no gun. I didn't have no knife. I had a full axe in my hand when I robbed that store. That's why when I went to the county jail, the young women there, they knew what I was locked up for. It's a chopper mama. Not only am I known as the BT 1000 or the Jeeper Creeper on this shit, Lucy the Vampire, the German Shepherd in the room, I'm also known as Chopper Mama. That's what they used to call me. It is what it is. Shout out to the chat. But the women on YouTube, and I was angry yesterday, but I let the whole world know that these women on YouTube, they basically giving me mercy and grace and love, and they be like, "Baby, everything gonna be all right. Everything gonna be all right." How is it gonna be all right? My people are still in the grave. They ain't coming back. I went to prison in 1995. I got out in 2001. August the 1st, 2001. When I got out, what did I do? I went to a transitional house right there in Columbia, South Carolina. I lived there for a couple of months. But my old behaviors, my old life kept coming back like a flashback, like a nightmare. When you live in certain transitional housing programs, you usually share a room with other women that probably coming from the penitentiary. They probably coming from the streets, probably coming from wherever they coming from. I learned my biggest life lessons when I was there. When I left, I went back to my home base that my parents had set up, because we moved from New York to South Carolina. So when my brothers and my sisters became involved with other people, and one of my brothers, he was married and he had children by Sergeant Crystal Reagan. And as I was living there with them, I developed a relationship with Sergeant Crystal Reagan. We was friends. We was like the best of friends. Sierra, my little niece, Laquan. I'm gonna tell you something right now. Before I left out of that house, I had to go into the 12-step program. I had to work at a job in Sumter, South Carolina. I was working for the vocational rehabilitation center up there in Sumter, South Carolina. Shout out to the Sumter, South Carolina vocational rehab program. Went there, worked all day. When my day was over with, I would immediately leave and go back home. They had transportation to pick you up at your house. They had transportation to take you back to your house in the afternoon. Shout out to the transportation. Shout out to everything I went through in my life, good or bad, indifferent, whatever. But when he said what he said in his video, I was immediately touched. I was immediately touched. Because when somebody says somebody in the family died, we automatically think it might have been a car accident. Ain't no car accidents. Not like that. It does happen, but it didn't happen. I'm going to tell you simply and plainly, I was living in New York when I got the fucking phone call 10:30 at night. My youngest sister, my baby sister, young woman I've been knowing for years and years, ever since she came into that house, my baby doll. Because when they first brought her into the house, I thought that was a baby doll. When I picked her up, she blinked her eyes and turned her head. And I said, oh my God, this is not a baby doll. This is a real baby. I put the baby down. I left the room. The woman that was raising me, she said, go back into the room and pick the baby up. That is now your baby. That is now your responsibility. I was 9 years old. How can I be responsible for a little child? But I did what I had to do at that time. I had all kinds of threats in that house. I will never get over the hurt and the pain. Never. And when I went in front of the family court system years ago, I was not even 10 years old. And I said, I want to go live with my parents. I want to live with my mom and my dad. I could not live there with them. I knew about my grandmother, which was my father's mother. I said, why I can't go live with my grandmother then? We could solve the problem today. Let me go and live with my grandmother. You know what that white judge told me? We're going to lock your black ass up. This is my courtroom. These people want to adopt you. I didn't want to be adopted by them. I didn't. Maybe in a little way, I was trying to save my own self from having more hurt put on me as a child. Childhood all the way to teenage years. I went into my 20s, a broken vessel, a broken dish. That's who I was for a long period of time. Right now, I'm 51 years old. I live in an apartment down here in Charleston, South Carolina. I work different jobs here and there. I go to the temp company. I get hired on with a real job. But I know upstairs, I will never be the same. Never. I'm going to tell you something. Sergeant Crystal Reagan and my niece and my two nephews, they died in 2011. Why do I keep thinking about them every day? All all day. When I do get a new job, I'm like, this is for them. When I do see something I want and I buy it, this is for them. But they're not here to enjoy anything because some nigga decided to snuff them out. And it's wrong. I talked about it on my big channel. I'm talking about it now. Some people say, well, baby, you need to go to counseling. You need to see a grievance counselor. You need to see a counselor that deals with trauma. Let me tell you something. I've been through that. All that counseling shit, I've been going through that since I was 17 years old, all the way until I was 41. There was no more counseling after that. My counseling came from these YouTube streets. YouTube streets. Shout out to the YouTube streets. Empress Lonnie One Love, she's over there doing her videos. She's not bothering anyone. Shout out to her. Me and her had our problems in the past. The past is the past. The past is dead and gone. But certain other motherfuckers want to keep bringing it up. Okay, one day it's going to be a day where I will have to face all that again. Lonnie has moved on. She don't talk about them days where we used to argue with each other. She don't. She don't even mention it. She don't. Brown skinned lady. She's on these YouTube streets doing a wonderful job with her channels. Wonderful. Brown skinned lady is a social worker. Shout out to the social workers. Shout out to Winnie Mandela. Shout out to Winnie Mandela, the biggest social worker that ever lived and fought a whole government. That's what Winnie Mandela did. Shout out to her. Rest in peace, my baby. Rest in peace to Winnie Mandela, a real woman that showed herself all the time. Like I said the other day, we don't have Fannie Lou Hamer. We don't have Rosa Parks. We don't have Coretta Scott King. We don't have Betty Shabazz. We don't have certain women. But we do have other women that are still living. There was a part of the civil rights movement many, many years ago. Our Black Panther sisters. One of them is living in Cuba. She's been there for quite some time. She's a senior citizen now. But if she ever dares to come to the United States, they threaten to lock her up. She's no threat to you. And you know she's not a threat. But they will lie. That's what they do. We got Sister T over there doing her videos. The only thing I see Sister T doing right now is driving around, doing her shopping sprees or shopping for her family. She takes care of her. Shout out to Sister T. She takes care of her family. We see the meals that she cooked. And sometime late at night, she'll go on one of her channels and play video games. And everyone is involved with the video game. Everyone loves it. Everyone loves Sister T because Sister T is actually in touch with her people. She's not distant. Shout out to Sister T. Y'all go over there and sub up to Sister T. We see Selena doing her videos. Shout out to Selena. I don't see eye to eye with Selena all the time when she do certain video, but that's another day for another day. But I shout out to her. I love her. I appreciate her. All these women on YouTube, whether I agree with you where all of us can sit in a room together at one venue together and discuss certain issues. Certain YouTube creators would get up and on the mic and they can talk their shit, they talk their ish all night until the next one comes up. The next one comes up. And that's what this sector of YouTube needs to be. Tommy Sotomayor is not here no more. Not on YouTube. He only appears as a guest. Shout out to him. But it's going to get deeper. Deeper. As we go. Shout out to those that are subscribed to this channel. Like and share the video, please. I enjoy you coming over. I enjoy you spending some time with me. I understand you have other things to do. You got your life to run. But we need to listen to what this young man is saying. We need to listen to him. He said he don't have a problem with Fleece Johnson. I don't have a problem with Fleece Johnson. He wrote his book, shared it on my YouTube channel, but I don't agree with everything he says or what he does. And I find it very hard and difficult to believe that this man made parole. I find it difficult to believe this man made parole after all the bullshit he did while he was in the penitentiary. I'm going to tell you something. I was locked up 1995 all the way to 2001. I got out in 2001. I had to live my life. In 2005, I moved from South Carolina back to New York. I ended up getting an apartment right there in Yonkers, New York, Saratoga Avenue. I remember the address and everything. I remember what I went through when I was living in New York. I remember the women I used to sleep with when I was in New York. I remember everything. From beginning to the finish, to the middle. I remember. I remember when my biological father was dying. He never did nothing for me when I was growing up. Never exerted himself. Never went to the fucking courts and say, I want custody of my 2 children. He had to go to his mother and say, can you get custody of my kids? I don't want them in the system. My grandmother went to court. My grandmother went to court many times trying to get custody of me and my younger brother. Her only mistake was trying to get custody of my older sister. That was not my father's child. But she said, I want all 3 children to be raised up together. They come from one mother. That was not my grandmother's job. My mother's job was to be the mother. She was to be the protector and the teacher of us. She allowed us to go into the fucking system. That's what she did. She failed. She failed as a mother. She failed. And I think I explained it on my bigger channel, what happened between me and her. And it was not pretty. Our relationship didn't end well. It didn't. My siblings, they don't agree with what happened, but they understood. My adopted mother, she was living at that time, she understood what happened. She said it was bound to happen. Arabia would attack anyone that she felt that was a threat to her. Anytime in my life, if I thought you was a threat, what did I do? When I leave here early in the morning to go to work somewhere, I'm carrying knives, I'm carrying box cutters, everything to get me to the job safely. One of my YouTube subscribers, she basically told me a few weeks ago, she said, baby, you're on your way back to the penitentiary and you don't even see it. You don't even see where you're getting ready to go back. A middle-aged woman going back to the fucking penitentiary. Oh, but they would be glad. The penitentiary would be glad to give me a cell somewhere and reinstate my inmate number 221644. That's what I was for years. I was not Arabia. They didn't call me by my name. 221644 was my name. Inmate 221644. State your name and number when we do our count at the end of the evening. 2 o'clock, I used to get up and go into the shower area and take showers. It was plenty of time somebody would pull the fire alarm and I would have to rush out. Soap and all wet. Only thing I had was my bathroom robe. I ran outside. I'm standing out there in the fucking cold and you're talking about shout out your inmate number. How dare these people? But that's their penitentiary. That's their correctional unit, wherever they at. Correctional institution. They didn't call me and say, well, Arabia, we invite you to come to the penitentiary. We want you to live as an inmate for 6 years and 7 months. And you're going to do almost 4 years on the lockup unit because you can't act right. You have a mental illness. You will never be right. I met many women on my journey. And my journey is not done yet. Remember that song? There was a song they had out here. I forget the name of the author of the song. It said, clean up the YouTube streets. My job is not done yet. And sometimes when I go to certain jobs, I start singing that song. Clean up the YouTube streets. Clean up the YouTube streets. My job is not done yet, but I'm not here to clean up the YouTube streets. I'm only here to support who support me. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to my YouTube creators, my subscribers, those that ride in my chat sections, whether they come from the rabbits or not, does not matter to me. Clean up the YouTube streets. That's the song that plays in my head. Sometime when I'm doing a job that might be too hard for me, I'll start singing another song that comes from these YouTube streets. 2 scoops. Fuck you. Wasn't Lonnie in that video? Yes. And she plays it on her channel every now and then. Yes, she does. Shout out to Lonnie for being Lonnie One Love. Thank you for being who the fuck you are, ma'am. Called you a bitch the other day. you know how I get down. One thing I can say about Lonnie runs her hand in the sand and puts a line there and says, do not cross this line. Got a lot of women on YouTube that do that. Brown skin lady. She's a lot of fun. She's a lot of fun to be with. I enjoy brown skin lady. Social worker. Winnie Mandela spirit. Yeah, she got it. Lovelace, another Winnie Mandela spirit. Kelly G, and then another Winnie Mandela spirit. We got a lot of Winnie Mandela spirits going on in this and on these YouTube streets. Chat to these YouTubes. But I'm gonna tell everyone to have an awesome day today. And if I don't talk to you no more this week, have an awesome and wonderful and amazing weekend. Enjoy your family while you have them. Enjoy them. Because I can't enjoy my family. Most of my closest family members are all dead and gone. Those that are remaining are not close to me. They're not. It will never be. Shout out to the chat. I'm out of here. Y'all have an awesome day. Be safe. And if y'all do live videos later on today, look out for each other. Don't let nobody come in your chat and start talking a bunch of shit. Get rid of them. Vanquish their asses. Them trolls, y'all need to start vanquishing them trolls out of your fucking chats. And I'm saying that from the bottom of my cave-burning American heart. New York is number one. We are number one. We will always be awesome. We will always be opulent. Those that went through the foster care system, you know what I'm talking about. Those that went through Job Corps, you know what I'm talking about. Those that were inmates, ex-felons, we know the whole truth. And a lot of people don't want you to tell your truth. Shout out to the Dante show. Shout out to you, the Dante show. You're doing your videos. You're doing wonderful. Don't let nobody discourage you. Yes, you're going to run into people that's going to agree to disagree with you. I heard his video this morning. He went live this morning. I saw it. I immediately had to go to the store, but I thought he was going to still be live, like a lot of people be live a long period of time. He was not live that long. And I said, God damn, where you go? But at least his video is there. Y'all go over there and sub up to him. Nice young man. Very nice young man. And he going through some shit. He going through some shit. Just like all of us. We go through our own shit at different times. And at least had enough heart, enough courage to speak up. He don't have to be a DMX to speak up. He don't have to be Obama to speak up. He can be himself and speak his own truth. Tell your story. A lot of people are afraid of me, Arabia Barbosa, the BT 1000 on this shit. Lucy the Vampire, the Jeeper Creeper. When I say I'm the Jeeper Creeper, that basically means whatever you say or whatever you do, if I like it, I take it. I eat it. It becomes a part of me. Some of you would do videos. You did videos 2-3 years ago. You don't know that I remember certain videos that you do. Because it's already a part of me. I've already smelled it, liked it, I ate it. It's a part of me. That's why I keep saying I am the Jeeper Creeper on this shit. A lot of people get it twisted and like, oh, she's the Jeeper Creeper in the movie. If I was the Jeeper Creeper for real, like that dude in that movie, if I would have wings like a bat, a giant bat or a dragon, and go to different parts of the world, y'all wouldn't be able to contain yourselves. You'll be like that one woman that hid under the bed when Jim Jones was killing off his followers. You're gonna hide under the bed when I come into your chat? The real women on this YouTube app, they know when I come in the chat, if I say, please drop the link, ma'am, they drop the link. They hope I don't say nothing outrageous. That's why I got my own channel, so I can say all the outrageous shit I want to say on this shit, on my shit, on my channel, not on their channel. But sometimes I want to laugh and, give a little history lesson. A lot of you didn't know that Winnie Mandela was a social worker. You didn't know that. You just simply thought she was the wife of Nelson Mandela. Don't you know this woman went through all kinds of hell just to be who she was? She came to the United States many times to meet up with Coretta Scott King and Betty Shabazz and the Black Panthers, and she came over here and visited with Tookie Williams when he was on death row. Go over there and look at the Tookie Williams movie, Redemption, where Jamie Foxx is playing the part of Tookie Williams. Go over there and look at the Nation of Islam. Look at the women that's involved with that particular organization. And you will see the women were the most radical. They were more outspoken than the men. Sister Clara Muhammad was married to Elijah Muhammad. She was the one that brought him to Islam. She was the one. We look at Clarence 13X. Why did Clarence 13X, Father Allah, join the Nation of Islam? You know why he joined? Because his wife was a member. Look at the Marcus Garvey movement. Look at how many mothers we got in there. That was the mothers of that movement. We got Fannie Lou Hamer down there in Mississippi. She was simply registering to vote. You know how many times they try to assassinate that woman? We got Shirley Chisholm. She went to Congress years ago. She instituted different programs. She fought for her people. She spoke English. She spoke Spanish. Look at it. Look at Billie Holiday, a woman that came from Baltimore, Maryland. She was born in Philadelphia, was raised in Baltimore, came from Baltimore all the way to New York, became a big-time singer. You know how many women she influenced with her voice, with her song, with her presence? Shout out to Billie Holiday. Rest in peace, my baby. You got a lot of women. You go into different avenues of looking up different wars that happened, and you see how the women supported certain efforts in different wars. Look at the Mexican war against Spain. The women had to go in there and take over for the men. But they don't tell you about that. They hide those truths. That's what they do. I'm out of here. Y'all have an awesome day. Like and share the video. Those that are not here right now. We had some people in the chat earlier. We got one right now. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. It is what it is. I am Arabia Barbosa. 914 Western County, New York. I am the BT 1000. I am the original BT 1000. I am Lucy the Vampire. I am the Jeeper Creeper on this shit. I am the German Shepherd and the goddamn motherfucking wrong. And don't nobody scares me. I don't scare. Remember Omar Little from The Wire, as he was testifying against his enemies, he said, I don't scare. I'm going to sit up here and testify. I'm going to testify. And I'm going to tell my story. A shout out to the chat. I'm out of here.